Hello and welcome to the Leverage Podcast. I'm your host, Paul Richard, and we actually have two guests today, one visible and one invisible. We have Ashley Logan by phone on the backdrop, and we also have Andrew Michael with us on video and audio. And welcome. It's good to have both of you guys with us.
Yeah, thanks, Paul. Thanks for having us.
It's awesome. And we're going to talk a little bit about you and your business as we normally do on our podcast. And you have A-Team Wash, and it's ateamwash.com, correct?
Yep, that's our website.
Yep. Okay. Well,
ateamwash.com.
tell us. Okay. Very good. Sorry there. Tell us a little bit about yourself and give Ashley a chance once you finish up and let us know a little bit of your background so that people can know, love, and trust you.
Right. So my name's Andrew. I own the 18 Pressure Washing. My background, I guess, what I went to school for is actually in video production. So I was doing a lot of live sports production for my degree. That's what I was going to go into doing. And then I ended up with a pressure washing business. So whenever you see all of our stuff on social media, you're wondering where we get all this video from. It's because I have a degree in that, and that's what I know how to do. So it works out great because pressure washing is such a visually appealing business that it lets me be able to showcase our work with what I have a background in with my degree. So that's pretty nice. But I grew up on a farm in Northwest Missouri, a very small town, about 500 people out in the middle of nowhere. And then I ended up going to college down in Branson at College of the Ozarks. So then I stuck around here in Southwest Missouri. We started the pressure washing business, and we're about 4 years in now. And we wash basically everything exterior on homes and businesses. We also do parking lot sweeping. So we got a sweeper truck. We do all that type of stuff too. So
Very good. Very good.
I'll let Ashley talk
Were
a
you
little
up near
bit.
St. Joe at all? Or where were you?
About
where
an
you
hour
raised?
east of St. Joe. Yep. About
East
an
of
hour.
St. Joe. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Very good. How about you, Ashley?
So let's see. I've lived in Missouri. I work in the insurance industry, and I have been the last 8 years. Before that, I worked in healthcare as a pharmacy technician. And I did eye care. I was an eye care specialist. And then let's see. I help Andrew as well with pressure washing sometimes. So I try to help him with his paperwork and receipts and all of that. So we stay pretty busy. That's pretty much it.
That's fantastic. And congratulations on your engagement and all that too. So that's awesome. Very, very neat to see that. Yep. Well, okay. Power washing is very interesting. Well, I guess we'll talk mostly about that, but the power washing business, I've interviewed a couple of power washers before, and it seems like that obviously it's a physically engaging type of a work, and is somewhat seasonal, right?
For the most part, yeah.
Yep. And very good. And then you've branched out in some other areas. So how did you actually decide to start the power washing business? How did somebody just ask you to power wash one time and you took off, or how did that go?
So I was living with a buddy of mine from college. His name was Austin, and I'm Andrew. We were talking about doing something on the side. I was working a financial planning job at the time, and he was going to school getting his master's. And he wasn't able to continue doing his full-time job because of classes. He wanted something part-time, just make extra money on the side. I was like, that sounds good. So he ended up sending me a TikTok video, and it was like, here's how to make $100 an hour pressure washing. And I was like, there's no way. Like at the time, that $100 an hour seemed like, I was like, oh, that's a lot of money. I was like, there's no way. So I started doing some research into it, and I was like, okay, there's potential way to do that. And so being Austin and Andrew, that's how the A-Team was born. So we started off just kind of doing friends and family stuff here and there, just kind of making some side money. I actually bought a pressure washer off Facebook Marketplace for $200 because I didn't have a pressure washer. So we just started off, and then we've grown to what we are now. He ended up getting married and moved to Kansas City, and then I have the whole business now. So we're still really good friends. I talk to him every once in a while, and he actually moved back from Kansas City. He lives in Branson now, and now he's moving back to Ozark. So I'd love to get him back, but I think he's like a therapist counselor for schools or something. He does very well. He's not going to come back to the pressure washing industry, even though I'd love to have the help. But yeah, so that's kind of how the team got started. So
Pretty cool. Was that a requirement for your wife? Her name had to begin with an A or no?
no, but it just worked out. It fit. So yeah,
That's awesome. That's awesome.
yeah,
It coincidentally worked out.
yeah.
It coincidentally worked out. God does that stuff. It's really cool.
Absolutely.
All right. So, Ashley, what do you do for the A team primarily, since you're on the go all the time?
So I do pretty much anything I can or whatever he asks me to do, which is usually coming to help him, finish up a job, which I'm really not much help because that's like hard man used to the office type of sitting. So yeah, I help anywhere I can, but he mainly just gives me all his receipts and I put those in. And yeah.
Gotcha.
But
Well,
yeah,
that's a pretty important role, isn't it?
yeah.
She also
Money he spends at O'Reilly's and Harbor Freight. Yeah.
she also does my thank you cards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so a little bit of the marketing side.
Yep.
And actually, I'm a Harbor Freight addict myself, so I have to be careful, in that regard. My wife likes Hobby
He
Lobby, and I
loves
like
Harbor
Harbor
Freight.
Freight. Yes.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I might see you at South Campbell sometime, Andrew, or maybe
Oh yeah.
North Store. So,
Oh, he's there at least like twice a week.
okay.
Maybe
Now
twice
we'll
a day.
know each other twice
Yeah.
a day. Yeah.
Maybe twice
Yeah,
a
me
day.
too. I'm at my office, and Harbor Freight is like 5 buildings next to me down here away. So
Nice.
I feel you. I feel you. The managers fight over giving me discounts sometimes. So that's
Oh
fun.
yeah.
That's fun. All right. Well, so when you first got into the business, and you guys were working together, were you doing primarily residential or commercial clients, or what were you doing at that point?
So whenever we first started out, I was actually doing a lot of new construction work out of Springfield, and we washed a ton of houses, and that's basically where I kind of got my start doing pressure washing. I really didn't have a clue what I was doing. I even remember one time one of the supervisors, he was upset with me because I did something that probably shouldn't have been done, but he's like, "I can't believe a professional pressure washer would do this." Like he said that to me, and I was like, I don't have a clue what I'm doing. I'm just like trying to figure it out as I go, like you don't have to have any like training to do pressure washing. There's no test or certification for the state. I think that there probably should be some sort of something where you have a license and not anything crazy, but I mean, I have equipment that like I could cut tree limbs off of trees with, and I've done it before because we were curious. But you don't have to have any type of certification, and so we just started doing it. It's a little different industry than a plumber, electrician, or any HVAC, where you've got testing and all kinds of certifications and stuff before people hire you. That's not the case for the pressure washing industry. So that's kind of where I started, and then just building that friend and family clientele up. And I would say probably now we're probably close to 50-50 commercial residential. That'd be kind of my gut feeling on that. It just sometimes doesn't seem like that because you do a lot more volume of residential where the commercial business is, there's fewer numbers, but it's more work. So, but I'd say it's probably about 50-50 currently on that.
Okay. So when you're doing a commercial facility, is it mostly the building or the sidewalks or everything? What are you normally washing at a commercial site?
It kind of just depends. A lot of times it's like sidewalks, entryways, like that type of thing. But we do have commercial buildings that we wash the actual building, 5 or 6 stories. The cool thing is we can hit that from the ground, which is well, not 5 or 6 stories, but probably about 4 stories off the ground. And we can hit from just standing on the ground without a ladder or anything. We did have one this year that was 6 stories, so that was a pretty good sized building. And then I've
Wow.
got one coming up here. I'm waiting on some construction to finalize for them. So that way all the dirt settles. But that one I think is 4 stories. So we'll wash that from mostly up from the ground on that one. I think there's a couple spots we may have to use a lift to get up there safely. But yeah, most of that we can do from there. And then, obviously on the commercial side of things, we also have the sweepers. So I think anymore sweeping seems to be one of the more common things we're getting right now for commercial properties is doing the parking lot sweeping. So that the Harbor Freight on South Campbell, that's one of our sweeping stops that we hit. So we were just there.
Oh, no
What
kidding.
was that last
Okay.
week, I think? Yeah. So, yep.
Now they're just a tenant there, right? So it's just that space
Yeah,
in front of the
yeah.
parking lot?
So we actually deal with the landlord of the property and not Harbor Freight. So,
I
which
see.
sometimes, depending on which company it is, it can go either way. Sometimes it's a good thing and sometimes it's not. And when it comes to like requirements to be able to service those types of places, like all the insurance and documentation and stuff like that, it just kind of depends. You know, you get into a lot of corporate stuff, they want a lot of insurance. And that's something I'm dealing with on one of my accounts right now is dealing with all the insurance and everything that we have to be able to service them. So, yeah, which is where having
Sure,
Ashley that does
sure.
insurance comes in very handy. So, yeah.
So, yeah, absolutely. She knows the ins and outs of that from her industry experience. Now, like if you're I'm just curious. So if you go into that, let's just call it the Harbor Freight building, which is a big strip center there, you've got what is it, Briars or Bears on one end, and you've got
Mhm.
Harbor Freight on the other end. So you're doing that entire space. Now, do you go in with like blowers and blow off the sidewalks and then sweep it up from there, or how do you do that?
Yeah, so the truck that we have is called a regenerative air sweeper. So it basically takes air from the hopper and creates suction with a turbine and it blows from that turbine down to the ground and it blows across the sweeper head. Well, the other side is the suction side where that air, so it just makes a big circle of air and it blows anything that's loose on the concrete and it sucks it up. Now, obviously, being on a truck, we can't get on the sidewalks, we can't get in to corners and stuff. So we have backpack blowers. We'll go through, we'll blow everything out before we start, and then that lets the sweeper truck be able to run over everything and suck it up. So all the sidewalks, curb lines.
Got it.
It has a curb broom so we can, whenever you have a long stretch of curb, you can kick that curb rim out and it'll pull it over under the sweeper head and suck it up. But anytime there's corners, we have to blow them out with backpack blowers just because you can't fit that truck in, perfect to get a corner to do a good job. So yeah.
Okay, so it's a dry system, right?
Yep. Yeah. Depending on I guess, environmental conditions at the time. Like right now, if I was going to sweep this street that I'm sitting on right now, I'd throw a little water in the hopper because it's airtight, so it also hold water. And what that does is whenever that rock and debris comes up into the sweeper, it'll go down in the bottom, obviously where the water's at, and it helps keep the dust down, so we're not keeping and kicking a bunch of dust ups. It does have a water tank on it, so we can apply water to the surface as we're sweeping to also help with the dust. But for the most part, yeah, it's a dry system.
Are you also doing window cleaning or anything like that since you're already
Yeah.
cleaning the rest of the building?
Yeah, so we do window cleaning also. That's one of the things like on residential, like when we do a house wash, it's a request that we get sometimes to also wash the windows following the house wash, which I guess as a professional in the industry, that's a recommended way of doing things. Whenever we wash your house, obviously the windows are going to get washed, but the house wash mix that we use is not designed to wash windows specifically. It's designed to wash the house. And so, yes, it will clean the windows, but depending on how the water is at your house or your business or whatever, if you have really hard water after we rinse, you're going to get hard water spots on your windows because that water is not designed to, or the system that we're using is not designed to clean the windows the way that they should be cleaned. So if that's something that somebody wants to do, we can add that on to an add-on service and then follow up with window washing after we get done washing their house, which is pretty I would say probably 50% of the people do that. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay,
Whether they do it
very good.
themselves or hire us to do it professionally.
Do you do the interior part of the window as well, or just the exterior?
We can. That's an option as well.
What about gutter cleaning? You doing gutter cleaning at all?
Yeah. So we got 4 requests today to do gutter cleaning. I'm pretty much all over Nixa and Springfield. One of the things that we do with gutter cleaning, we go through and we scoop out all of the gutters by hand. And we've got some tools that we use to do that, obviously, but we actually get up there with a bucket, we scoop it out of the gutter, and then we flush all the downspouts out because we have water. And after we do the flushing, we also check the gutter system. So the gutters, the downspouts, everything to get the water to go away from your house and make sure that all is functioning the right way. And then if there are issues that need to be addressed, we'll let the property owner know. That way, if they have a spot that's leaking, they may not know unless they're standing out there in the rain, which who stands out in the rain and looks at their gutters, like probably not a very common thing.
Right.
So we try to let them know, like, hey, you have a problem. If it's a minor, and when I say minor, I mean very minor, we can fix that. But whenever it starts getting into bigger problems, we have people that we refer to that are gutter specialists that do that type of thing. It's one of those things like you want to stay with what you're good at, like let the people that are good at those things do that. I'm not a gutter person, so I can unclog gutters and get them clean, but if it's sagging really bad, I don't have the tools with me to be able to do that. Obviously, you want them to be sloped so the water runs out of them, but we don't keep any of those tools, so we just refer that out to a roofer or gutter person that has the tools to be able to do that.
Very good. What about the roof? Do you do soft washing of shingled roofs and that type of thing?
Yeah. So that's one of the things that I think a lot of people don't realize that they can do is actually wash their roof. Now, obviously, you said it, soft washing. There's a difference between soft washing and pressure washing. So, pressure washing is going to use high pressure to remove whatever's on the surface. So, most of the time, pressure washing is generally just concrete or hard surfaces. So, like you get into like some retaining walls, rock walls, that type of thing. You can use pressure on that because you're not going to say you're not going to damage that surface. You can definitely damage the surface, but if you do it correctly, then you won't damage like a driveway or whatever with pressure. Whereas if you took a pressure washer to your shingles, then you're going to call Ashley and have a claim because you're going to blast all the granules off the shingles. So we use a soft wash system, which lets you use water and detergents depending on what we are trying to remove. And you let the chemicals do the work for you. And it goes through a garden hose, so it's very low pressure. It's just like it's raining on your roof. And the black streaks that people see on their roofs, it's a bacteria called Gloeocapsomagma, and it feeds on the limestone aggregate that is in the shingles that holds the granules onto the shingle. And so as that sits on the roof over time, and it probably takes, if you put a new roof on it, it's probably going to take like 3 years before you notice it, probably on the north side. And then around on the south side, it may be like 10 years before you even notice it. But it's going to start growing just because the moisture in the air, especially in Missouri, is humid as it is. But that bacteria is going to start growing. And it's going to start eating that limestone aggregate. So roof washing is actually one of the best roof maintenance things that you can do that's very cost effective and preventing your roof from having to be replaced sooner, because once those granules start falling off and your shingles start getting brittle, you have a windstorm come through or a wind gust, and it can tear your shingles up really fast. The method that we use for washing roofs is actually the recommended way by it's like the North American Asphalt Shingle Associate is something like that. I don't remember the name of it. But the way that we
Sure.
do it is the recommended way. So it doesn't void your roof warranty or anything like that. It's 100% safe for your roof. And then you get some other organic matter that grows on your roof. You see it on trees a lot. It's the little specks that are kind of a bluish gray color. Those are called lichen, and this is something that I have seen firsthand, so I know that it definitely is a thing. It's not something I've seen online or read about or anything. So I had a roof last year that had lichen growing on it. We did a roof wash, soft wash on it, killed the lichen that was growing on the roof, and that lichen also eats on the limestone aggregate that's in the shingle. And it didn't put a hole all the way through the shingle, but there's definitely a dent on that shingle everywhere. And I can even send you a picture of it if you want me to. I don't care. I think I have it on my phone. But it actually left an indention where it ate the granules completely off of the roof. And you can see little holes. It's almost like it got hail, but it was lichen that was eating those shingles. And so if you have lichen on your roof, you definitely are going to want to get that removed. And the way you do that is with a soft wash system. So that way it doesn't get to that point, because that roof was probably like 5 years old, I would say. But it's in the trees, that section of it, so it doesn't get a lot of sunlight. And that moisture lets that lichen grow on the roof. So if you have those little gray or blue dots on your roof, sometimes they're even yellow. But if you have those, you definitely want to have us come take a look at it and get you a quote on that, because it's going to save you a lot of money down the road if you get that knocked off before it becomes a real problem. So, and if you're unsure, we can always come take a look at it. That's not a problem. We're not going to charge you to get up on your roof to say, yes, you have lichen or not. So yeah.
Very good. Very good. And in that case, how often would somebody like that have to retreat their roof? Would it go another 3 to 5 years, or what do you
Yeah,
think?
you could probably do a roof wash probably 3 to 5 years, and that would probably be a good um, that'd be a good time frame to between washing. It's kind of on a roof by roof basis. I'm sitting in a neighborhood right now that's new construction. There's no trees around, so these roofs get a lot of sun. If you're in a wooded area and you live out in the middle of nowhere where you got shade all the time, you may need to have your wash done more frequently because it's going to hold that moisture in more. So there's not a great set number, but you also want to wash the entire roof, because just because you don't see that glow caps of magma, it doesn't mean it's not there. So you're going to want to wash the entire roof to keep that from getting worse. So, but you'll see it most of the time on the north side. So it just looks like
That
black
makes
streaks
sense.
down your roof.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So the lichens, it almost, I think I know what you're talking about as far as the lichen. When
Yeah.
you kill it, will it actually wash off as well at that point?
So yeah, that's a really good question. So what we do is we try to schedule our roof washing 2 to 3 days before a rainstorm, because whenever we apply the soap, we can't mimic the rinse that a rain gives you without causing damage. Obviously, we could go up there and start rinsing your roof, but the best thing is for that soap to sit up there on the shingles, and it doesn't damage the shingle in any way. It can sit up there and dry. It's not going to hurt the shingles, and whenever it rains, it's going to knock all that lichen off. Now, it may take, if you get a light misting, obviously it's probably not going to knock it off. But after 2 to 3 rainfalls, it'll all be, it'll kill all of it by then. And so then after a couple rainfalls, it should all be knocked off. If not, we probably didn't apply the soap properly to soak it to really get it to kill it. So, and if that's the case, we just go back and fix it because we messed up.
Got it. Is there, Andrew, is there a way that you can do power washing in a place where there's no power and there's no water? Can you bring in your own water?
Yeah, so the trailer that we have, I can actually bring almost 1,000 gallons of water with me, which there's not. I don't even know of any other pressure washing companies around Southwest Missouri that can haul that much water. So if somebody is out in the middle of nowhere, we've got some construction companies that we wash their like bulldozers and excavators on new job sites. They're just there breaking the dirt. They don't have water or anything. So that's why we ended up getting this setup that we have now, is to be able to service those clients. So we can actually go fill up bulk water and then bring it with us to the job site. And then all of our equipment runs off gas. So we don't need electricity or anything. If we're running our soft wash system that's electric, our trailer is fully self-sufficient, and it basically can run itself off of what we've got on there. Yeah, we can haul water. Obviously, there's a charge if we have to be able to take water to a site just because of the added expense in that. But yeah, if that's something that people are needing done, we are fully mobile. We can go pretty much anywhere. So yeah.
What's the oddest story you could tell about power washing? Give us a good story
The
about a
oddest,
strange one you did.
I can tell you what the most disgusting thing I've ever done is.
Okay. Okay.
Dumpster pads at daycares are just not, they're not real great. Everything that's thrown into the dumpster is in the dumpster, and then it rains, and then all that, the dumpsters have little drain plugs, and you have all that runs out onto the concrete, and then we get to clean it up. That one's pretty nasty. We've done some dog kennels in the past. Those are bad. Cattle trailers, that's another one that's pretty bad. But we run into oddball stuff all the time. So this one that I'm getting ready to do right now, whenever we get off this call, they spilled blue chalk line chalk onto new concrete. So that's kind of an odd thing. They've tried a pressure washer to pressure wash it off and basically just sunk it deeper into the concrete. We were doing an acid wash on this driveway to get all of that out. So basically, when we put the acid on, it's going to take the top layer of concrete off along with all that blue chalk, so then it's going to look like concrete. But it's new driveways. Concrete's very soft, so there's a technique to do all that. Anytime we get into really just oddball type stuff where you get into like specialized cleaning with different chemicals and all that, we have a chemist here that's local in Springfield that makes any chemical that you want. He's got a plant warehouse, and we can call him and say, hey, this is what we have on this surface. What do we need to use to take it off? And I've only had him get stumped one time. And it's not because of his fault. It's just because the situation did not allow for us to be able to do what we were needing to do. Somebody put duct tape on a brand new tennis court, and duct tape has rubber in it. And whenever they got done, they left the duct tape on the tennis court, and the sun heated up the rubber in the duct tape and fused it onto the acrylic surface of the tennis court. So there's nothing you can do. That's a chemical reaction that's happened, and you're just kind of done at that point. So, but other than that, anytime that we call him up and say, "Hey, this is what we have," he gives us the right chemical, and he makes us look really good. That's for sure. But that's something that not a lot of other companies that do what we do have is access to that to allow us to be able to provide those types of services to people. So, yeah.
That's fantastic. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So I think I heard you say you provide free estimates, right?
Yep, we sure do.
Okay.
So we're very, very big on the customer experience and customer service. That's the one thing that sets us apart from everyone else. We want to call everybody back. We want to be really good at communication. Whenever I said my degree's in video production, technically it's in communication with emphasis in video production. So communication is very big to me. I want to be very clear. I want you to know what our expectations are. Or we want to communicate what the expectation is so that way the homeowner's not surprised when we get done with what's going on. And I think that's one thing that we really pride ourselves in doing is making sure that we communicate very well with our clients.
It was free estimates and then yeah.
Yeah. So whenever we get a request in, whether it's a text message or a phone call, sometimes we get emails or we have an actual form on our website that's for taking in requests for jobs. And we try to call everybody as soon as we get that request. And a lot of times we're washing, we can't get to it immediately because we don't hear the phone. We got equipment running, all that. But we do get to people as fast as we can. And there are times that we've called people and they're like, wow, I literally submitted that 10 seconds ago and you're calling me now? I'm like, yeah, absolutely. We want you to know we're here. We're going to take care of you. Um, and I think there's a lot of people that are in the trades and that are contractors that take their time getting back to people. I try to get everybody called back in the same day that they called me. Sometimes it doesn't happen because sometimes I'm on the street sweeper until 3 a.m. and it's loud and I can't get back to you that soon. Or you left me a request at 3 a.m. and I'm sleeping. So either way that goes. But yes, we do free estimates. After we make that phone call, we're going to set the time to go do the in-person inspection. So we always go look at the property in person. I know it's an added expense and it's something else. So we have to drive. Ashley tells me all the time, I see how much money you're spending in diesel every month. And I'm like, yes, I know. I understand that. But we're about the customer experience. We want people to enjoy working with us and we want them to be able to be comfortable referring us out to other people. So yes, I drive this truck around and yes, it costs me a lot of money in diesel, but it's worth it whenever we have a really high customer satisfaction rating and we can go to the homeowner, we see what's there, we can set those expectations for them right there in person. They meet us, they see us face to face, they know who they're dealing with. And that's one thing that we really pride ourselves on is providing that customer service and customer experience that's not anything like any other pressure washing company in Southwest Missouri. So, yeah.
Very good. Very good. Did we leave out any of the services that you provide that we didn't cover?
Oh, goodness. Let me go look. I feel like there's so much that we get into, house washing, roof washing, driveways and sidewalks, gutter cleaning, gutter guard. That's something we didn't really talk about. Um,
Right.
which is, I mean, that's pretty self-explanatory. We use a screen that goes over the top of the gutters. It has a 5-year manufacturer's warranty and it snaps in. So we're not putting screws through your gutters because your gutters are designed to hold water. Why would you put screws in them? That doesn't make sense. Window washing, fleet washing, we touched on. Specialty cleaning, kind of in that chemical. Commercial, dumpster pads, parking lots. One thing that we have that I guess is kind of just a bonus thing that we do, we call it emergency services. So there are times when people call and they're like, hey, we need this done now. There are other pressure washing companies out there that they're like, we're booked a month out. We can't get you in. If you call us and you say, hey, we need this done now, we're going to say, okay, we're going to head that way now. Obviously, there's going to be a little bit of a charge for doing that, for bumping everybody else back. But that is something that, like, if you are in a situation like if you spill oil on your new concrete, the first thing you need to do is call us because the sooner that we get to that spot, the better the results are going to be. The longer that oil sits onto a new concrete, especially, but any concrete surface, the longer that it works deeper in and the results aren't going to be as good. So you have those types of things that pop up every once in a while. Sometimes there's an event that's happening and they need this cleaned up. ASAP. We had one that was a new construction that the pressure washer they were going to use showed up, was on site, decided that he didn't really want to do what he had agreed to do because he didn't feel comfortable pressure washing next to drywall. While having our background in new construction, that's something we've done a lot of. And they were on a deadline. They're like, we need you to start now because the people are coming to seal the floor and we need this done now. So you get into some of those situations every once in a while where a lot of pressure washers are like, oh, nope, we're booked out however many weeks or days. And we will take those clients in if needed. There just may be a little extra charge on there to bump everybody back. So, but yeah, that's kind of what we do with that.
Fantastic. All right. So if somebody wants to get a hold of you, they've got your website at the
Yeah.
A Team Wash. And then is there a phone number you'd like to give to the listeners as well?
Yeah, if you'd like to call 417-597-2170. That phone number goes directly to me, unless I'm doing something and Ashley has that phone. For the most part, I have that phone with me, so that's direct line to me. And then you can also text that number. Some people are kind of iffy on calling. I understand. Whatever is the most comfortable way for you to reach out, we'll go that route with you. People will email us info at theateamwash.com. That's a good email to send information on. And then, like you said, theateamwash.com is our website. And then we also have Springfield parking lot sweeping.com. That's our street sweeping website, which gets into a whole nother world. We ended up making another website for it just because there's so much more than just what we could put on one page of our website. So Springfield parking lot sweeping.com. But the phone number is good for both of those. Both come to me. And then if you're lucky, you get to talk to Ashley. So yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. All right. Well, again, we have Andrew Michael and Ashley Logan with us from the A-Team Wash. Appreciate you being on the program today, and we're looking forward to referring you more often than we've done in the past. And thanks again, Ashley, for being with us.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah,
We really
thank you.
appreciate it.
We really appreciate it.